Okay, you guys, welcome back to Open Mat Chronicles. 1865 Rod here, and as always, we got my man Schaefer.
What's up? What's happening?
What's up, Schaefer? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm chilling, man. Had a little Jack and Coke. Felt good today.
That always warms you up.
Hell yeah, it's warmed up. Yeah, I mean, talking about some interesting stuff today. So, you called me up. You were like, "Hey, man, I was checking out this thing, and there's this joker talking about old school black belts versus new school black belts, and how he believed that the old school guys were so much better than the guys of today." And we wanted to kind of just discuss, our point of views, right?
We want to react to a reaction.
Because
basically,
I don't even want to throw the guy out there or anything like that. I mean, listen, just Google that shit yourself and you can figure it out. But I just want to give our take. You know what I mean? I mean, listen, your take, my take, it's as good or as relevant or as important as anybody else's. Exactly. So I'll give mine, you'll give yours, we'll talk about it, and this shit will be good, like always.
So, let me frame it up. So basically, the guy, he is a well-known YouTuber. He's legit. I have a lot of respect for this guy, so I'm not kidding him at all. He's solid. He goes around to different schools and fights everybody, so he's a younger guy. He's, super athletic, high-level black belt. And he was basically making the argument that back in the day, like this second generation, this first generation jiu-jitsu guys, it would take you, forever to get your belt. And some guys just they would never get a black belt. Right? And those black belts would just dominate everybody on the mats. They were just like monsters. And I guess his whole argument was that you don't really see that anymore. You don't see the black belts that are just mauling everybody. And then the other black belt, who's actually another good YouTuber, he looked at the video and he at the end of the day, he pretty much agreed with him. Okay. And I look at it, and my takeaways were they have some valid points, but I kind of disagree a little bit. And we could talk about why. Do you want to go first? Like, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, listen, I think we're going to almost be on the same page with this because, dude, I think a really good blue and purple belt will give old school black belts a run for their money if you go jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. I'll give my point of view on this. So the reason I think black belts back in the day looked like they were unstoppable, it's because they were unstoppable because they were fighting people who didn't know fucking jiu-jitsu, right? It's like if you look at all the old Gracie challenges, it was some joker who did Taekwondo. No offense, Uso. So, there was somebody who would like fucking do Taekwondo, and they show up to a damn Gracie gym, right? They lock the door behind these motherfuckers, and they come in, and they want to do some old fucking crescent kicks and shit like that. And if you don't knock a joker out immediately, man, when it goes striking versus grappling, it gets ugly really quickly, right? So you would get these blue belts, and they would snatch the guy off his feet, they dump him. And he's never been off his feet before. So, it looks crazy. It looks crazy that these guys are just beating the brakes off of him. And God forbid if it's a black belt who they challenge, this black belt looks like, he looks like Thanos coming in, like just smacking people around and shit because his skill set is so much more advanced than a guy who knows nothing. He's literally fighting white belts.
Well, let me make sure that we frame it correctly.
Yeah, let's frame this shit,
right? That I present his argument correctly because I think he's saying in the context of just a school with a bunch of jiu-jitsu practitioners, not guys coming in from the outside. So you got a school with jiu-jitsu guys, and the black belt is like mauling everybody. So all the little, the underlings are like, oh my god, we can't even stand a chance.
Okay.
And my point is, it kind of aligns with what you just said. Yeah, he would maul them because there were fewer people in general back then. There were fewer brown belts, fewer purple belts, fewer blue belts. Like when I started, I was a white belt. I had Benny. Shout out to Benny, man.
For sure.
I miss Benny, dude. Julio, Trevor, all these good guys, right? They were blue belts. They were blue belts.
Yeah.
So there was all that we had was blue belts and white belts. So of course, if a black belt came in, he's gonna maul all those guys. Like even. Right, so of course the demographic was different. That's my first comment.
Okay, and I can feel that. So you're dealing with guys who maybe have 2.5, pushing on 3 years, versus this other guy who's got 10 years already.
Like a decade plus.
Right, he's got a decade under his belt. So yes, there's a huge disparity there as well. So even jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu, you basically have situations where you have, you know, student versus teacher. Well, yeah, the teacher's probably going to beat the shit out of the student on a regular basis because there's a huge time disparity, right?
Yes.
He knows stuff that these other guys, they have no idea. They don't even, this shit looks like magic still to them, right? Because I've always said, like, jiu-jitsu looks like magic to the uninitiated, right? You know what I mean? They come in and they're like, what the fuck is happening? So, yes, if you have jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu, and from a guy who's a 1, 2, 3 year white or blue belt looking up at his coach going, oh man, one day I'll be like this. Yeah, it looks crazy.
And every school was like that. It wasn't just
Every school was like
we were
that.
an anomaly because jiu-jitsu was kind of new back then. I got a story too that kind of backed that up. This is kind of like anecdotal evidence. So I remember this must have been like a decade ago. It was a long time ago. Maybe longer than that, like 10, 11, 12 years ago.
Right.
But I was a white belt, obviously. And I remember, for whatever reason, Gus had, maybe we had a seminar or whatever. So Gus was a black belt, obviously. And we had 2 other black belts come into our school. And I think they were teaching the seminar.
Okay.
And at the end of the seminar, it was just, obviously everybody was rolling, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was rolling. It was a good time. And then towards like the end of it, these 2 black belts, like they started rolling against each other and they were facing off. And this wouldn't happen today, but like the whole school, we just stopped. We're like, it was like, oh my God. It's like the main event. Like today, we're like, okay, whatever, dude. Just 2 black belts going for it. All right,
it's like
whatever.
the Thriller in Manila.
Bro, this was like, it was like, so it was amazing, right? And then whatever happened, it played out the way it played out. But just the fact that just goes to show how different the timing was back then because you didn't see a lot of black belts. So
absolutely,
either one of those black belts would have destroyed anybody in the club and say, "Oh, he's better." Yeah, he's better at that time era.
And against each other, they probably trained together since white belt. So they're just buddies, and they look at each other and they're like, "Well, this is just my homeboy, and we're the fucking same." So yeah, it's like, hey, when we do this, let's put a show on for these little motherfuckers because they're going to be amazed at this. Hey, you know what we should do? Do that scissor sweep. What? What's a scissor sweep? You know, like, they haven't seen any of this stuff. It's all new back then, right?
I don't even think we had a purple belt. I think we had one purple belt, and he would come in every now and then, like every 3 months. He was in the Peace Corps. He'd show up. His name was Phil. Shout out to Phil. Phil, little Filipino dude.
Nice.
Oh, man, he would murder everybody. Like,
well, dude, I told you, Hassett, when I started with him, he was a purple belt, right? And I thought he was the bee's knees. I thought he was like the shit, man. He was beating the dog shit out of everybody. And he was a purple belt. Now, he was a really good purple belt, and he's just super duper aggressive.
Yeah.
And, like, we called him Johnny Go, just like you were Microwave, he was Johnny Go. So, yeah, you get these guys, and there's a huge disparity. So it seems like, you know, you look back nostalgically at them, and you go, oh, man, they were the greatest.
Yeah.
They were the best. No one's ever done it like this guy.
It's watered down now.
Which is bullshit. because, dude, with the advent of YouTube and the ubiquity of being able to see jiu-jitsu everywhere all the time on a moment's notice, there's no more hidden moves. There's no more things there's no secret squirrel shit, right? Like, it's all out there. And because it's all out there, you've got more guys doing it. Exactly. And those guys who are doing it, they're going to make it better. They're going to do a little of this, a little of that. They're going to tweak it.
Yep.
And they're just going to be better, faster, right? So all these...
Stronger.
Yeah, faster, stronger. It's like the fucking Bionic Man. $6 million man.
It's cool that you get that reference.
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember, I'm old, dude. I'm old.
So point number one. There were fewer people, fewer quality. I guess a smaller depth of talent.
Yes.
You know, back in the 90s than there is today. So of course they're going to appear like they're much better than they were.
Absolutely. Oh shit, that's what I'm talking about. We got the phones ringing and shit. We're gonna do it live. Let's see. Do it live.
Sorry. That was literally my.
It was your accountant. You don't have to talk about your account. We know
I
you
hang
got
up
money.
on Professor.
Oh shit.
It's all good. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay. So yes, so there were less people who were already there and who have attained that rank, and because of that, it just seemed like they were so much better, right?
Exactly.
Now, you get white belts and blue belts. You know, they just got their freaking belt, and they're rolling against black belts every day because there's so many, and it's such a common thing for them. They're like,
They're jaded.
They're like, he's just a fucking black belt. He's just a we got blue belts and white belts going. Nah, I'm good. I want to roll with you.
I know.
But what the fuck do you mean you don't want to roll with me?
I know.
It's like if a black belt came up to me and said, "Hey, let's roll." The answer is okay.
Yeah.
Oh fucking K, here we go.
They're spoiled now though.
Yeah, because now you're like, nah,
it's not
man,
a big deal to roll with black
there's
belts.
5 black belts here today. I'm good. I don't want to roll. I'm gonna take this round off. It's like, what the fuck do you mean you're gonna take this round off? It's like, who are you? But it's different. You know what I mean? Like, the times have changed. So, does that mean that these black belts are watered down? Absolutely not. They're actually probably better, right? Because they have had access to so much more. They've seen so much more, and they've actually had the chance to try so many new things. Like, look, all right, Wormguard, right?
That didn't even exist.
Yeah, and dude, I hate Wormguard, but our boy could Wormguard the shit out of everybody. You know what I mean? And it just is what it is.
Yeah.
That didn't exist when I started jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? I was like 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm like, what the fuck? If he would have shown up as a black belt knowing Wormguard
Oh man.
in
Like,
2002, he'd be the world champ. He'd beat everybody.
Well, I think didn't Keenan invent the Wormguard? I think he did.
I don't know.
I
Nobody
him about
invented
it.
everything.
No,
anything.
I really think Keenan Cornelius invented the Wormguard.
I ain't
think
buying
he did.
that shit.
I think he did. Somebody put in the comments. I think Keenan did, but he started winning a lot of competition too.
Well,
until
that's
they
the
figured
thing.
out, they
Right.
dissected it. But
Exactly. So
I
just
could be wrong,
imagine.
but I think Keenan did. I want to give him his props to it.
Maybe. I don't know.
So that's point number one.
Maybe I'm a butthead because I don't give anybody props.
Okay, I got another point too. I got another reason why. This is
What's
point
up?
number two. Point number two. Okay, so back in the day, think about the demographic. For the most part, I know there's outliers, right? But for the most part, who took up jujitsu back in the day? We always joke about it, the freaking accountant.
The
The
90-pound
Yeah, the nerdy
weakling.
guy. Because they marketed it as, hey, this is an art to where size doesn't matter. You're a small guy, you could defeat the bigger guy.
Hell yeah.
And the bigger guys were not interested in it at that time.
Right, they were still either wrestling or punching each other
They're
and shit
doing
like
different
that.
things,
Yeah.
right? So
For
you
sure.
look at all the small guys did it. So yes, so of course you have fewer opponents that aren't as developed and they're smaller and not as I'm not gonna say they're not as athletic, but they're smaller and they're not
legit.
Yeah. So that is definitely a factor right
And
there.
they would beat the dog shit out of people. That's when you got like the little guys going in there and just dragging these big muscle bound,
Exactly.
thick neck motherfuckers, and they're beating the shit out of them regularly, right? And yes, like, you remember the old comic books, like I said, the 90-pound weakling
On the beach?
where on
Kicking
the
sand in
beach
the face?
where the
Yeah.
big dude kicks sand and takes his chick. That's what was happening to all these jokers, little Poindexters and accountants and stuff
That's
like
facts.
that.
It was.
And then they were like, "Oh, you know what? Watch this shit. I'm gonna fucking become a nerd assassin," and they did.
And then the big guy's like, dang, if this works, what about me? I'm big.
And
It'll be
then,
even better.
and that's exactly what happened.
And it changed.
That's when you get fools like Pajadas and all them other jokers, and they're coming in and they're jacked, but they're fighting like
You find like little guys.
small guy.
Andre Guevara.
Oh my god, dude! I will say, who's the dude out of Las Vegas? Frank Mir.
Oh yeah.
Frank Mir was the first guy who was 220, 30, 40, but fought like he was 160
Oh, yeah.
pounds.
Yeah, I like Frank.
150, 160 pounds. And he was dominant because he even said, I think before, he's like, I do little guy jiu-jitsu, but I'm a big guy.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
Worked on Brock
because
Lesnar.
hell yeah. Well, I mean, Brock Lesnar just, that's right. He ankle locked the shit out of him within like a couple of seconds. Yeah. Because he was under him and he was just like, boom, it's over. So, yes, you have the little man was kicking ass and taking names for a little while and it looked great.
He had to run.
Yeah, he had his run. But then big guys went, holy shit, I should learn this too. And as soon as they learned it too, that's where that whole size doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, but it does.
Went out the window.
It matters. Go back to the old fucking the lies they tell people in jiu-jitsu episode, and we'll talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Size matters. Strength matters. There's a guy, Mark Bell, fucking power lifter. He's a cool dude. So he used to always say, strength is never a weakness. And I personally buy into that. Strength is never a weakness, right? If you only rely on strength, okay, well, you're fucking up. But if you've got technique and then you throw strength on it as well, how can that be a weakness? And it can't be, right? And now you've got these black belts now who are getting bigger, getting stronger, but they're athletic. And we talked about that athleticism, right?
Oh, God.
They're athletic. I mean, are you telling me? Yeah.
You're describing Trevor right now.
Yeah, I know.
I hate to say it, but we bring him on every podcast. We got to get him on here.
Yeah, we will.
Who's this Trevor guy?
I know, right? He's on the Forgotten podcast, but you know, we'll get him. We'll actually get him.
But even he admits it though. He goes, you know what? He goes, my technique's pretty good, but it's backed up by a ton of athleticism. And everything else.
Absolutely.
But his technique is really good. He's being humble.
Yeah.
You know, but he doesn't do like a lot of fancy stuff.
Nope.
Basic jiu-jitsu.
He has a very basic game.
Basic game, but it's like
and his basic game just can't get stopped.
Can't get stopped.
Exactly. Can't stop that freaking game because he's like, look, I will apply what I know at a very high level, backed with a bunch of strength
and athleticism.
And it's like, how do you stop that, right? So how do you stop that if you compare your old school guys who were not as athletic, for the most part? I mean, Rickson Gracie was always like the freaking... He's the outlier, though, right? We're not fucking with outliers.
We're not talking about outliers. We're talking about average.
But if you take, Joe Blow, he's just like, I'm all right. I don't do any real... I don't work out. I eat acai bowls and I hang out on the beach and shit. Right. Versus some of these guys now. Come on, where you're going to throw him against Gordon Ryan and think he's going to do...
Mauled, bro. Come on, man. They're just romanticizing the old days, you know? It's like with music, you romanticize. Oh, the 80s were so good. The 80s were okay, but there's some bad things about the 80s too.
But 80s music was awesome. What are you talking about? Come on, you can't shit on 80s music.
I'm not. I'm talking about the 80s.
I know.
There were some not so good things about the 80s too.
Well, there was a lot of bad things about the 80s, but music wasn't one of them, dude.
It was pretty good in the 80s.
Hell damn, yeah. Didn't Flock of Seagulls come out in the 80s?
I think it did, yeah. Let's ask Monkey Feet. Shout out to Monkey Feet.
Yeah, man.
Hell no.
Oh, man, yeah. He knows, he knows his music.
Yeah.
Shit. See, we're getting sidetracked again.
Okay, so I got another point. So that's point 2. Here's point number 3.
Yes.
Okay, there were not, I don't want to say there were but there was a very small segment of hobbyist black belts back in the 80s or whatever. Everybody was a competitor back then because there was no, I'm just doing jiu-jitsu to stay in shape. You did jiu-jitsu, you were like competing.
A lot of
competing
times.
all the time. Like nowadays, you have guys like, I just have a job. I'm just, I'm a hobbyist, but these guys still get all that new information.
Yes.
So there's different levels, right? There's different.
I agree. So yeah, that's a really valid point, right? You used to have guys where they would sleep in the fucking gym. They were like, yo, I'll clean out the toilets. I just want to learn. Just teach me, old wise one, right? It was like kung fu and shit, right? Back in the day. And
sitting outside.
Right? Exactly. You're like, no, motherfucker, get out. Yeah. So, yes, so that existed, and people would bust their ass to get that knowledge. Right,
but wait, no. I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, you're good.
But here's the flip side. The argument might be, well, that's why they were better because they were. So I don't know. How do we? I
got. Here's the rebuttal.
I'm trying to be fair on both sides.
Look, I'm fair, man. I'm super duper fair.
You got this, man.
So, at the time, if you have hidden skills and techniques and all these, and it's a very select few who have this knowledge, right? It's there and you're learning it, but it doesn't evolve as fast because you're dealing with the old school shit. They're teaching you the fucking Din Mach. They're teaching you all the secret moves and shit, right? And the problem with learning all these secret moves, you have a very narrow focus. And when you have that narrow focus, you won't even entertain the idea that maybe there's more shit out there. Right. Maybe there's another way to do this shit, right? When I love my word ubiquity, but when ubiquity hits, when things become so common and pushed out there that everybody sees it and everybody can do it. Excuse me, see, I'm getting excited, fucking choking on my own spit. When everybody sees it, I know, right? I'm choking on that Jack Daniels. Hold on, shit, hold on. I'm about to hit y'all with some knowledge. Just like,
come on, spit it, man.
When everybody sees it and everybody can contribute to it, now you have all these various points of views and all these different ways to see the same fucking problem. you don't know how to get out of this guard because you're fucking stuck in the mindset of what your instructors who've taken you down this straight line path have taught you. Now you got these outsiders who go, well, I'm bigger, I'm smaller, I'm this, I'm that. Let me give you my fucking take on this, right? When you start getting all this other information adding to it, it will naturally cause everyone to get better. What I say, a rising tide lifts all boats, right? So the more people you have coming at these problems and giving their points of view and giving their solutions, well, now the solution that you could have got just from one guy that might not have worked for you, well, now you got from this guy over here, and that shit works great for you. And then you pass that down to this guy, and then they pass it to this guy. Yeah, man. When you open shit up, it gets better. It's like it's like if you were a programmer, this is some nerd shit, and you deal with open source programming, right? Open source programming a lot of times will get you better results because you allow more chefs in, right? Usually you go, oh, there's too many chefs will fucking spoil it. Yeah, right, whatever. But if each chef gives you their individual take on it, not just throw it all in a mix, but everybody gives you their individual take, you might be like, well, this one tastes fucking great, and this one tastes great. So let's pull these out and let's concentrate on them. And so on and so forth. You keep adding to it. So, yeah. So that's how I would counter the idea that this pure line of jiu-jitsu is better than opening it up to everyone.
Got it.
Yeah. There you
go. What about I don't know if this is still in line. What about competitors? Like, where are the competitors? Would you say they're the same as back then? Are there different levels? Because a lot of guys will say, "Well, I'm a competitor," but they might do like one or two competitions a year. And I'm trying to see how this would tie into it. I guess because maybe the black belts back then did a lot of competitions. Right. They did a lot of, and then maybe a black belt of today, maybe if he's just semi-hobbyist, he might do a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 a year. He's not at that same level just because, you know what I mean? He's not competing.
If you're talking about hobbyists, sure.
But that's, so it kind of goes back to the previous point,
sure.
the hobbyist.
Yeah, I mean, okay, because
they didn't really have hobbyists back then.
Well,
not really that many.
To a degree, right? So, I've been doing it for 20 some odd plus fucking years. I'm a hobbyist. Always have been. Always will be, right? There are plenty of people, like, once it became, I don't want to say mainstream. Once there was enough jiu-jitsu students to start supporting a bunch of schools, the majority of them have to be hobbyists. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Because everybody's not going to be a fucking hardcore competitor, right? I remember going to Battle of the Beach and shit like that out in fucking Wildwood, New Jersey. And I remember I went in and I was like, holy shit, there's so many people here. It's crazy, blah, blah, blah. And we're talking like 2004, 5, 6, something like that, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And there were so many people there. But here's the deal, right? For every one motherfucker who's there, there's like 5 who are not. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people who just didn't go because they're not competing. So think about your school whenever you're like, all right, Billy, Joe, Mike, Kim, and Susie are all going to compete. Woohoo! Let's give them their fucking props. Or let's bolster them and let's cheer them on.
Like 6 guys.
Yeah, but
out of school of like 150.
Exactly. So everybody else is chilling, man. They're like, look, I gotta fucking go to work, man. This shit crazy. Yeah. So it's always going to be a very, very, very small fraction of people who are actually competing. And honestly, I think it's always been that way. If a school had enough people to keep it open and pay the bills, right? Are there outlier schools? Of course. There are schools where, like, if you show up, you got to compete. It's like fucking Fight Club. It's your first night in Fight Club, you got to fucking fight, right? So, there were schools like that. There were schools where if you showed up, you were just going to get the dog shit beat out of you, and you were either going to quit or you're going to become a monster. And that's pretty cool, right? I don't think I don't think Hassas was quite that bad. But in the beginning, we just beat the shit out of each other. I ain't gonna lie.
I think all schools did though.
Yeah, well, back in the day, right? It was because every school wanted to be that.
Yeah.
Every school wanted to be like, listen, if he dies, he dies, right? Like everybody wanted that shit. Yeah. And then they were like, yo, this fucking rent is expensive for this building.
Reality kicked in.
Yeah, it's like holy shit. Damn, I didn't think the electric bill was going to cost this much. What the fuck do you mean I got to get insurance? And you're like, oh, this is bullshit. This is a job. So now you got a business. Yes, you've got a business, and you can't just go, if he dies, he dies. No, you got to be like, hey, how can I help you today? It's like, you know what? Come on, man. Jiu-jitsu, it's for everybody.
You're right.
So that's what changed. That's where the whole jiu-jitsu for everybody bullshit came.
So does that mean does that mean by default is it watered down then?
No, it's just expanded. It's a bigger pot of soup. So maybe you want to call it watered down. Some people might say that, but there are probably more people who are super duper dangerous now compared to the past, right? However, there are also a shitload more of people who are just kind of chill, and it's just because of the sheer numbers.
You can't change that.
Right.
There's no solution.
So, is it watered down? I mean, it's watered down in the sense that it's not a pure martial art anymore. It's a business. It's a sport. It's all these other things.
Well, let me reframe it. Because I want to make sure I do this guy right. Okay, so he was saying basically that becoming a black belt of today is slightly watered down versus the old days. That was his ultimate argument. So that's kind of what I'm asking. Do you think that a black belt today is a little bit watered down versus a black belt of like 19 in the 90s?
No. I think a black belt today would jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu beat the shit out of most black belts of the past.
I kind of would agree too. Not kind of, I would wholeheartedly agree just because of the techniques available. The sport's evolved so much to such a degree that, like I said, we just use worm guard as an example. You wouldn't even know what that was back then.
Absolutely. And they would just have their lunch eaten repeatedly. Jiu-jitsu before, as a more pure martial art, was about fighting.
Yes.
Right? It was about style versus style. It was saying, I know jiu-jitsu, and this guy who I might fight probably knows whatever. Yeah. Right? Boxing, wrestling, taekwondo, karate, fucking kempo, aikido. Shout out to Steven Seagal. So they would have all that bullshit. Oh, damn, I said bullshit. I'm not trying to call your arts bullshit. Yeah. I take it back. So they would have all that bullshit, right? And then and then people would go against jiu-jitsu, and in the proving ground of the octagon, it was shown very clearly that grappling arts do better, because if you don't knock a motherfucker out right from the beginning, you're gonna have a bad time. So when it was just about fighting, it was different, right? Yeah. But now it's sport, man. It is more sport. It's jiu-jitsu versus jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and if I go, what I always say, if somebody jumps on me in the parking lot of Walmart, it's probably not going to be some dude who's been doing jiu-jitsu for 7 years. It's going to be some knucklehead who's like, "Give me your money," and I'm like, "Fuck you," and then we're gonna scrap. I'm gonna wrist lock his ass.
But you'll break it.
I'll break the shit out.
Do a Steven Seagal.
I mean, okay. Really let's keep it real. I ain't gonna do any of that shit. I'm gonna fucking shoot him. That'll be in our self-defense.
If you actually have to use hands in a street situation, it already went bad. It went bad way before that. Yeah. That's an absolute last resort.
That would be terrible. Yeah.
Okay, so which leads me to my last point.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the last point would be perception, and what I mean by that is the guy that did these videos. He's a pretty high level black belt. He's a young guy. He's super athletic. He's really good. Right. He goes to his whole gig is that he goes to different schools and he teaches jiu-jitsu and he goes and rolls with all these high level black belts at every school. So he's really good. Yeah. So from his perception, like, what is he grading? What is he comparing him to? He's comparing him to like the best of the best of the best, right? So he might get a guy that's actually pretty decent, but he's like, yeah, this guy sucks. I don't know, right?
Yes. So not only that, And again, without throwing out names and all this good shit, keep in mind, he's probably decent.
He's good, yeah.
You said he's a high-level black belt.
Yeah, he's solid.
And he's arguing that people in the past are better.
Like, basically,
yet,
yeah.
Wait. Think about this. Yet he's a high-level black belt. He is probably realistically better than the people he's talking about, right? So his argument is flawed in that he's arguing against his own lineage and his peers. He's probably pretty good. I know for a fact that people who've gotten their black belts after me, and hell, that would be like even Gordon Ryan and all those guys, like, they're fucking amazing. Now, that's if you're using the highest of the high. That's the top fucking tier guys. I will say this. Just the people who I've been in California with, who I've seen promoted to black belt, in my time here at our school, are better than black belts I've seen in the past.
Yeah.
They know more. They're more fucking precise with their moves. They're sharp with their shit. They're better. They're better. And that's not knocking it, anybody from the past. That's like saying, hey man, you know what? I was the best fucking drag racer ever because I had, whatever, it's my old blah, blah, blah.
Chevy.
Yeah, my old 57 Chevy. And you go, well, can't this Tesla go faster?
Exactly.
It's like, yeah.
It should be better.
It's better, man. Shit gets better with time, right? Even though Teslas fucking suck. That's a whole nother.
They are fast.
They're super fast.
I hate to admit it, but they are.
But if it's cold, they don't work.
That's true.
If it's cold, they don't fucking work. Damn.
I'm not a big Tesla fan.
Dude, I was going to get my old lady a Tesla. But then I was like, what if it snows or some shit? All right, that's it. We're fucking talking dumb shit again. Black belts nowadays, they're better than fucking black belts.
I think they're better than ever. That's
better.
Our consensus.
Yes.
Open Mat Chronicles consensus. Black belts of today are the best they've ever been.
You're damn right.
Facts.
And here's the other fucking thing, right? That's like the whole argument, because we've had this one a million times. Who would be fucking better, Mike Tyson in his prime or Muhammad Ali? Well, obviously, we'll never be able to test it. We'll never be able to test a black belt from, 1992 versus a freaking black belt from 2022. We can't grab them because even though they're still alive and they can fight, well, yeah, they're fucking 60, 70, 80, 100 years old now. It's like, yeah, you're going to slow down a little bit, right?
What about this? What if you take a percentage of black belts? What if you go back to 1995?
Oh, shit.
You take
that was a good year. That was a good year, man. What are you doing? That was a good year. I was in the Army, man. I was balling in 1995. Yeah, that shit was the shit. Shout out to 1995. Yeah. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So 1995, let's say you take 100 black belts, just random black belts.
I don't know if there was 100 black belts in 1995.
Okay,
no, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
But you're right. I know
No. 100 black belts.
Let's take 100 black belts, random black belts. You pluck them out at whatever school you find nationwide.
Yep.
Okay. Now you take 100 black belts, the same randomness out of today's schools. So you might get that hobbyist, you might get whatever.
Dude.
Then you put them against each other. Who wins? The old school black belts, so maybe his argument is more like you're going to have a higher concentration of, tougher black belts. I think that's ultimately his argument.
Okay, he's saying it was harder to get a black belt.
Basically, at the end of the day, it's harder to get a black belt there. It's going to take you, whatever. You may not ever get one. It may take you 15 years to get one.
Man.
So if you take the 100 black belts of yesteryear versus 100 random black belts of today,
okay. That fucking changes shit.
It does change it, huh?
It changes shit.
I think I just phrased this whole point.
Wait, no. Okay.
Like, you finally got my point.
All right. No, fuck his point. Listen, here's the thing. What you said changes shit, right? If you take that concentrated shit, right, it's like, that's like saying, okay, I'm going to take a fucking bouillon cube for all you motherfuckers who cook, right? I'm going to take a bouillon cube and it's just concentrated motherfucking beef flavoring, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take some fucking chuck roast.
You're describing it being watered down. Oh my God.
I am, you're right. Don't be depressed.
Someone
Don't
watered
be-
down. That's what you're saying.
No, I don't. Fuck.
Okay, go ahead. Finish it.
Now, maybe, man. Maybe,
Oh, no,
right? Fuck.
All right, go ahead.
All right. So, fuck. I think I am. I think I'm saying it's watered down.
You kind of are in a way.
Son of a bitch. Okay.
Get rid of the bullion thing.
No, man, because that's a fucking very accurate description.
Okay, let's do the bullion.
So we might have to just eat shit on this.
Oh, yeah,
Okay. So if you only have 100 guys who are black belts in the past, and to get a black belt, it was very fucking hard. It's hard now, but there was nobody. You had to walk this particular path.
Back then it was like
right?
the Highlander that could only be
Fucking
one.
$1,000,001, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if you've got this smaller group, maybe they held them back longer, maybe they did this, maybe they did that, and those guys are badass, right? So let's say now you got, out of that 100, you got 70 who are like just monsters, right? And the other ones are kind of hobbyists. Because maybe it was a little harder for a hobbyist to get a black. No,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
It was harder for a hobbyist to get a black belt in the past. Now, you come to today, and you have 1,000 people who have their black belt.
But you pick out 100 though.
Wait, but listen, follow me. So now you have 1,000,
Okay.
and yes, you pick out 100. But here's the deal: in the past, there was only 100 to pick from. That's why 70 were fucking badass. Now you've got 1,000 to pick from. And you know what? Maybe 500 are badass. It's way more who are badass. But it also gives you a lot more opportunity to pick a mediocre motherfucker.
You're right.
So if you then start picking people randomly like that, so now you got 70 fucking, pipe hitting motherfuckers. They're hardcore.
Yeah.
And then maybe out of that 100 that you pick, the 100 might only garner you 50.
Okay. So let's go deeper though.
Shit.
But with those 50, with all the modern moves and modern techniques,
They're gonna beat
would
up
that
the other
offset-
guys.
Would that offset it?
They're gonna fucking win.
That's what I'm
Oh
saying.
no, they'll still beat them. They'll still beat them. See, that's what I'm
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
The
It goes
guys
back-
from now are still gonna
They're
beat the
still
old
ultimately
fucking
better.
guys. They're gonna beat them.
All right. That's where we stand.
Fuck.
New school wins.
Yeah, fuck yeah, new school
Disagree,
wins.
put it in the comments.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Damn.
Or drag out an old black belt.
No, because then you're just beating up
Then
an
it's
old
an old
man.
guy. Yeah, it's an old guy.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
There's no way to prove it.
There's no way to prove it,
Can't
but
prove
damn. So, wow, yeah, dude. Like you've got a much more diverse and freaking and knowledgeable group of black belts now, but they're fighting these old tough black belts. And I think they'll beat them. I still believe that the guys now will beat the guys from the
I think they
past.
would.
But the concentration is higher in the past.
The concentration, that's the key word.
So guys in the past are
Oh.
like bouillon cubes, and guys nowadays are like fucking soup.
That's some strong soup.
It's
though.
a fucking strong soup. It's really good soup. It's like soup with sriracha in it or some shit. Oh man.
No, I think.
I don't even know if we fucking figured
I don't
anything
know if
out,
we did either.
man.
I don't know if we did.
Holy shit.
We figured out the guys of today are ultimately, at the end of the day,
They're better.
they're better. Because you can't erase all the years of what we've learned stacked upon the shoulders of the guys beneath us.
100%.
You can't erase that. You have to account for that. These guys
They're
are
better.
ultimately objectively better today.
Yes.
Maybe there's a fewer subset of a group that is going to completely dedicate their entire life to the art, which is back then. I think you had maybe you had more people that were in it. You had to be in it to be in it.
For sure.
Like it was your life. And we're now maybe have a smaller group of that.
Damn.
But it
Dude,
doesn't matter because all those extra steals going to offset that.
there's a whole fucking thing I was going to go into about like McDojos and shit like that. And
I don't think there's McDonald's in
shit,
jiu-jitsu.
not many, man.
Not-
but
I don't
there's-
think so. I don't think
not
it's-
many.
it's not watered
This is
down that
still
much.
this is
Still
still
pretty
one
good.
of the purest arts
It is.
left.
Like I said
do
on
believe
another
that.
podcast, like
It's the
I
purest left.
had somebody that asked me like what school to go to. And I'm like, you're kind of good.
You
Like,
can't
I'm not
go
going to
wrong.
say don't go to that school.
Absolutely
like,
not,
They're
dude.
teaching, ultimately it's going to be Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. It's legit.
Yes.
Like, I've never seen.
I don't know a
fake-
school that I would not suggest
Exactly.
somebody. I wouldn't say, oh, don't go here.
Yeah, I haven't
There's
seen that.
I don't know a school at all that I've ever experienced
I've never
where I was
either.
like, don't go here. I mean, I've had some of my boys who left Hassett School on bad terms and have opened their own schools, and I'll be damned if I was like, oh, their school's not good. Their
Yeah.
fucking school's good.
Yeah,
They're good. They're solid.
yeah, it's not watered down yet.
Damn.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it won't ever be.
I think you're right. Shit, dude. So I mean, I guess. All right, I guess when
feel
it
better.
comes down to it, I don't know if you feel better. I don't know if I feel better.
I feel better.
I'm feeling like a little confused. I'm feeling like, and you know, I hate saying I feel like. God damn it.
Yeah, but sometimes you gotta just feel.
Sometimes you have feelings, and I guess my feelings they're running wild right now
You
because
conflicted?
I don't know. I don't have a definitive answer.
I don't know if there is one really.
I guess not, man. But I don't like not knowing shit.
I know.
People say ignorance is bliss. Fuck that. I like to know shit, dude. And you know what? Knowing stuff's important to me.
You know what's funny?
Oh.
This is exactly how his podcast ended. He's like, we don't really know.
Yeah, see, that's bullshit.
I don't know if there is an answer.
Why did you tell me that before we started this
I don't
shit?
know. I thought it'd be fun.
Damn. So, I need to know because, like I was saying, it's important. And if it's important to you, you'll find a way. So I'm going to find a way to figure this shit out.
I still say we're better.
I think so too. And if it's not important to you, you'll find an excuse. So, fuck. Help us. Help us answer this shit, right? Because I don't know, dude. I
New
wanna
school
know.
versus old school.
New school versus.
But you know, that's really not the question, though.
It's not, but fuck it, might as well be.
Gotta
It's
start
like,
somewhere.
it's just everything's just vague. I don't know.
It's pretty, it's pretty ambiguous.
My God, you people sat here with us for like 40 minutes and we didn't even fucking give you an answer. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That was a tough one.
It was a tough one. Tell them where to find us. Shit.
Open Back Chronicles. We're on Instagram too and TikTok, right?
Yeah, we
Open
are.
Back Chronicles.
We're doing dances on TikTok and shit. We're doing all that.
Are you on TikTok?
Yeah, we're
right.
on TikTok. I ain't know no fucking dance.
But we are on TikTok.
I might do a dance though. I'm not doing a dance.
What is it? What is it? Just Open Back Chronicles TikTok?
Yeah. Open Mac Chronicles, TikTok, YouTube, all that bullshit.
Same thing. It's always
Yeah,
Open
it's
Back
all the
Chronicles.
same thing.
Come check us out. Like the video, subscribe it, share it out if you like it. If you got the answer, throw it in the comments, man. This was a confusing episode.
It was really confusing.
But I think we got through it.
We got through it.
I still stand by what I said. At the end of the day, there's no way that more knowledge is going to be inferior to less knowledge. So the
Agreed.
people of today are going to be better.
100%.
And plus, you got bigger, stronger, more athletic guys.
Bigger, stronger, faster.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
On that note, you got anything else, Shaper?
Nah, man. It's Jack Daniels time.
All right, man. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Us.
We basically didn't accomplish anything.
We didn't get shit
No, we kind
done.
of did though. We did accomplish something. We did because at the end of the day, we accomplished that we were at the same point as the other guy.
Dude, that's bullshit. We accomplished nothing.
Anyway, we had